Hello, grade 10 math students. I hope you're doing well and that you got to enjoy some sunshine this past weekend. Today we're going to continue the idea of factoring. So that's when we're taking an equation and breaking it down into two separate brackets. We're going to talk today about how to factor a difference of squares. A difference of squares is a polynomial that has a square term in it. Clearly need to make my spaces bigger. So what happens here is that we have a square term, a perfect square, that's subtracted from another square term. The factors of a difference of squares are binomials with perfect squares but opposite operations. It is important that we can recognize a difference of squares in order to apply these ideas. For example, which of the following are a difference of squares? So if I were to look at this, I have x squared minus 100. So the first thing I need to make sure is that I have an x squared here, and I do. The second thing I need to do is make sure that I can square root 100 and not get any decimal. So can I do that? Well, on your calculators, if you were to square root 100, that's 10. And that sign that's in between, it's a subtract sign, okay? So it's not the same operation there. So here, if I was looking at this, this is a difference of squares because we're subtracting one term from another. So yes, difference of squares. If I'm looking at B though, I have a squared term, that's great. If I square root 81, I don't get a decimal, that's 9. Okay, so I can do that. The square root 81 is 9, that's good. But if I'm looking in between here, I have an adding sign. That's bad. I need to have a subtracting sign here. So this is not a difference of squares because of that addition sign. Okay. We can factor this difference of squares. So let's go up to the first example. The first step that you're going to do here is write two separate brackets. So I'm going to write two separate brackets side by side. I'm going to square root the first term. So if I square root x, that's the same thing as just saying x and x. So basically I'm going to, as long as there's no numbers in front of here, I'm just going to write x and x. I'm going to write opposite signs. So a plus, then a minus. And now I'm going to take the square root of 100, which we said is 10. And those are my two brackets. Okay, this is done. Let's go down a little bit. I want to know which of the following factors represents a difference of square polynomial. If I'm looking here, so I've already broken them into brackets. I have an x and an x, and the same number, 3 and 3, opposite signs. This is a difference of squares. B, I have an x and an x, a 5 and a 5, but the signs are the same. This is not a difference of squares because the signs need to be opposite. Here, I have a 2x and a 2x, so notice that these are matching, that's fine, and a 3 and a 3, plus and minus. This is still a difference of squares, okay? It's okay that I have a number in front of here as long as those numbers are matching, okay? So everything has to be matching here. Before I leave you for today, yes, it's a very quick video. I know you miss hearing my wonderful, sweet voice. Let's try one more example here, okay? So in this next example, let's try x squared minus 9. And we're going to factor this. So remember, my first step, I'm going to write two brackets side by side like this. I'm going to put an x in each bracket. Opposite signs, so plus and the minus, or you can do minus then plus, it doesn't matter. And now I'm going to square root this 9. So really what I'm doing here is square root 9, which is 3. That's the number that goes in each bracket now. And then we're done. One more example. I'm going to start by writing my brackets. going to put an X in each, opposite signs, and then I'm going to do square root 25. That leaves me with 5 and 5. Okay. You cannot do this if you get a decimal when you square roots. Remember that when you're on your calculator, you need to square root them. So if you were to do 24 square root, you're going to get a decimal. That's not a perfect square. And now I can't do this question. Okay. All right. That's it for today, guys. I hope that you're having a great day. Continue to check in, write any questions on that Google Doc, and let me know how you're doing. Miss you all.